Please like the video and share it so that it reaches many more people and you get sawaba, or rewards from Allah. This could be a sawabe jariyah or continuous reward for you long after you are gone.
Volume 9, Book 89, number 301. Narrated by Zayd bin Thabit. Abu Bakr sent for me owing to the large number of casualties in the Battle of al-Yamamah, while Umar was sitting with him. Abu Bakr said to me, Umar has come to me and said, a great number of qaris of the Holy Quran were killed on the day of the Battle of al-Yamamah, and I am afraid that the casualties among the qaris of the Quran may increase on other battlefields whereby a large part of the Quran may be lost. Therefore I consider it advisable that you, Abu Bakr, should have the Quran collected. I said, how dare I do something which Allah's apostle did not do? Umar said, by Allah, it is something beneficial. Umar kept on pressing me for that till Allah opened my chest for that for which he had opened the chest of Umar, and I had in that matter the same opinion as Umar had. Abu Bakr then said to me, Zayd, you are a wise young man and we do not have any suspicion about you, and you used to write the divine inspiration for Allah's apostle. So you should search for the fragmentary scripts of the Quran and collect it in one book. Zayd further said, by Allah, if Abu Bakr had ordered me to shift a mountain among the mountains from one place to another, it would not have been heavier for me than this ordering me to collect the Quran. Then I said to Umar and Abu Bakr, how can you do something which Allah's apostle did not do? Abu Bakr said, by Allah, it is something beneficial. Zayd added. So he, Abu Bakr, kept on pressing me for that until Allah opened my chest for that for which he had opened the chests of Abu Bakr and Umar, and I had in that matter the same opinion as theirs. So I started compiling the Quran by collecting it from the leafless stalks of the date palm tree and from the pieces of leather and hides and from the stones, and from the chests of men who had memorized the Quran. I found the last verses of Surah at Tawbah sad face. Verily there has come unto you an apostle, Muhammad, from amongst yourselves, 9.128-129, from Khuzaimah or Abi Khuzaimah, and I added to it the rest of the surah. The manuscripts of the Quran remained with Abu Bakr till Allah took him unto him. Then it remained with Umar till Allah took him unto him, and then with Hafsa bint Umar. Volume 9, Book 89, number 302. Narrated by Abu Layla bin Abdullah bin Abdur Rahman bin Sa'al. Sa'al bin Abi Hathma and some great men of his tribe said, Abdullah bin Sa'al and Mahayisa went out to Khaybar as they were struck with poverty and difficult living conditions. Then Mahayisa was informed that Abdullah had been killed and thrown in a pit or a spring. Mahayisa went to the Jews and said, by Allah, you have killed my companion. The Jews said, by Allah, we have not killed him. Mahayisa then came back to his people and told them the story. He, his elder brother Huayisa and Abdur Rahman bin Sa'al came to the Prophet, and he who had been at Khaybar proceeded to speak. But the Prophet said to Mahayisa, the eldest. The eldest, meaning, let the eldest of you speak. So Huayisa spoke first and then Mahayisa. Allah's apostle said, the Jews should either pay the blood money of your deceased companion or be ready for war. After that Allah's apostle wrote a letter to the Jews in that respect, and they wrote that they had not killed him. Then Allah's apostle said to Huayisa, Mahayisa and Abdur Rahman, "Can you take an oath by which you will be entitled to take the blood money?" They said, "No." He said to them, "Shall we ask the Jews to take an oath before you?" They replied, "But the Jews are not Muslims." So Allah's apostle gave them 100 she-camels as blood money from himself. Sahl added, "When those she-camels were made to enter the house, one of them kicked me with its leg." Volume 9, Book 89, number 303. Narrated by Abu Hurairah and Zayd bin Khalid al-Juhani. A Bedouin came and said, "O Allah's apostle, judge between us according to Allah's book, laws." His opponent stood up and said, "He has said the truth, so judge between us according to Allah's laws." The Bedouin said, "My son was a laborer for this man and committed illegal sexual intercourse with his wife. The people said to me, 'Your son is to be stoned to death,' so I ransomed my son for 100 sheep and a slave girl. Then I asked the religious learned men and they said to me, 'Your son has to receive 100 lashes plus 1 year of exile.' The Prophet said, 'I shall judge between you according to Allah's book, laws.' As for the slave girl and the sheep, it shall be returned to you, and your son shall receive 100 lashes and be exiled for 1 year. O you, Unay," the Prophet addressed some man, "go in the morning to the wife of this man and stone her to death." So Unay went to her the next morning and stoned her to death. Volume 9, Book 89, number 304. Narrated by Abdullah bin Abbas. That Abu Sufyan bin Harb told him that Heraclius had called him along with the members of a Quraysh caravan and then said to his interpreter, "Tell them that I want to ask this, Abu Sufyan, a question, and if he tries to tell me a lie, they should contradict him." Then Abu Sufyan mentioned the whole narration and said that Heraclius said to the interpreter, "Say to him, Abu Sufyan, if what you say is true, then he, the Prophet, will take over the place underneath my 2 feet. Volume 9, Book 89, number 305. Narrated by Abu Humayd as Sa'idi. The Prophet employed Ibn al-Utbiyah to collect zakat from Bani Sulam, and when he returned, with the money, to Allah's apostle the Prophet called him to account, and he said, "This amount is for you, and this was given to me as a present." Allah's apostle said, "Why don't you stay at your father's house or your mother's house to see whether you will be given gifts or not, if you are telling the truth?" Then Allah's apostle stood up and addressed the people, and after glorifying and praising Allah, he said, "Amma Ba'du, then after, I employ some men from among you for some job which Allah has placed in my charge, and then one of you comes to me and says, 'This amount is for you, and this is a gift given to me.' Why doesn't he stay at the house of his father or the house of his mother and see whether he will be given gifts or not if he was telling the truth by Allah? None of you takes anything of it, i.e., zakat, for himself." Hisham added, "Unlawfully, but he will meet Allah on the day of resurrection carrying it on his neck. I do not want to see any of you carrying a grunting camel or a mooing cow or a bleating sheep on meeting Allah." Then the Prophet raised both his hands till I saw the whiteness of his armpits, and said, "Number doubt. Haven't I conveyed Allah's message?"